All right. So, hmm, Madam Blessing.
Yes.
Just a brief story to how we met before we move on with some other topics that we have for today. Uh, Blessing and I met in school, okay, in the university, where we both were studying for our first degree, and yeah, it's quite a long time now. How long is it long? Okay, it's about wow, it's getting close to 20 years now, right?
Yes. 18, 19 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, that's quite a long time.
Mhm.
Okay, so we were both studying mathematics in the university. We started the first year, we were not very close, but we knew ourselves from afar. And then along the way, there was actually a time that we had a lecturer who was taking us one of the courses that was real analysis, and that course was a nightmare for most of our classmates because the lecturer who was taking it wasn't very friendly, and his ways of delivery was not very plain for everyone to understand. And so it was actually a prerequisite that if you fail to pass that course, automatically you are going to have an extra year, for your study. So instead of studying for 4 years, you will be studying for, and as at that time, if you fail that very course, you are going to be having 2 extra years. Okay, because when you get to 300 level, there will be a course that you'll be unable to take, and then that course you may have to take it in 400 level. I hope I'm getting it correctly.
Yeah. Some
Okay.
of the courses were also prerequisites. So it was a
Yeah,
prerequisite to a prerequisite.
yeah. So
So
automatically, somehow, if you fail that course at that time, I think that was it 200 level or 100 level?
200
200
plus
level.
207.
207,
Yeah.
okay, mass 207. Okay, at that time, if you fail that course, you will not be able to take the prerequisite that was supposed to be taken in 300 level. So it means in 300 level, you'll be taking the 200 level course. And there is also another course in 400 level that if you fail the one in 300 level, you will not be able to take
Yeah.
that. Okay. So automatically, it means that by the time you are in 300 level, you are taking the 200 level course.
Yeah.
Okay. So by the time you are in 400 level, you'll be
We're
taking
taking
the
300
300
level
level
course.
course.
Yeah.
So now the one extra year, you'll be taking the
400.
400 level course. Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
okay? Before you finally graduate,
Yes,
right?
if you're able to
If
clarify.
you're able to clear, fine.
But
All
it was
right.
a prerequisite to more than one
One
course.
course,
Yes.
okay. All right. So it so happened that I was one of those guys that I don't know why, maybe God just helped me, that I understood the course somewhat, and one of the few actually that understood the course, and we were not very close. So she had her own clique of people that she was studying with, and one day she walked up to me and said, "Well, bro." Yes, we are addressing ourselves as brother, sister in the Lord. Actually, she was more of like a sister in the Lord than
Okay, sister, good luck.
yes, yes, sister in the Lord. All right, oh, lovely. Okay, so she walked up to me and said, "Bro, can I please study with you for this course because I would like to pass this course?" I said, "Why not? Fine." Okay, and that was how our journey started. I told her, I said, I don't stay on campus, I stay off camp, and I don't study on campus. I don't come to the campus to study. I love studying in my own room at home, which was off camp. I said, except you are ready to come to where I was staying, or where I am staying as at that time to study with me. And I knew her kind of person, that she's a principal, or she was and still a principal lady. She doesn't go to boys' hostels. And when she goes to boys' hostel, she has her own reservation, her own what I call it, restrictions. Or reservation is better, right?
Yeah,
Okay, she has her
reservations.
own reservation. But to my greatest surprise, I actually thought that when I say I stay off cam and you have to come off cam, that she would say, no, I will not come. But to my surprise, she said yes. I said, okay. And funny enough, where I was staying, it's a bit distant, from the campus. So I said, okay, normally we go on bike, that is motorbike, those that you pay money to and then they convey you. So I said, okay. But that particular day I said, we are going to be walking on foot, we are going to be trekking, following a shortcut. Because I felt, okay, let me take her through this path. Maybe she may have to reconsider whether she still want to come to my place or not. And we trekked. We passed through that shortcut and we got to where I was staying. And I could still see some excitement and I was like, something must be happening in the heart of this lady. Maybe God was doing something. I don't really know. Okay.
207 overstay.
Oh, 207. Oh, so you couldn't gamble it for
I couldn't
anything.
go with that.
Okay. All right. So when she got to my place that day, funny enough, that was in Jos, Plateau State here in Nigeria. All right. So when we got to my room, funny enough, that day it drizzled. The rain. There was some light rainfall, and I told her, I said, I don't have any cooked food in my room. So what will you want to take? And she said, I would like to take mororo. I was like, huh? What is mororo? you know? I'm surprised I can still remember this so clear.
Yeah.
All right. I said, so what is mororo? She said, biscuit mixed with milk in a cup or in a bowl. I said, all right. I don't have biscuit in the house. I don't have milk in the room. So let me go and get some from the shop. But then it was drizzling. There was light rain outside. But something just happened that I just came out of the room, and started running without even thinking twice. Why was I doing that? I couldn't just place I couldn't just imagine me doing that, for why. I couldn't really say why, but I ran all through, when got the biscuit, got the milk, and I ran back in absolute excitement, despite the rain, falling on my head. I started questioning myself, boy, what is wrong with you? And I gave it to her. Excuse me. And she made a mororo. Excuse me. Sorry, we're supposed to have some water here too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that was how our journey began. And yes, we studied, and God helped us. We both passed the Mass 207. Very good grade. I think you got
B.
a B. Okay. A B grade on that. I can't remember whether it was an A or a B2 I had. I can't really remember again. Okay, but they were all both very good grade that we got after I was studying together. After everything, we all passed the course, and it's went up from there. But surprisingly, at a point, I thought she also had some feelings for me, because from that time on, when I questioned why I was so excited doing what I was doing for her, with that much excitement, and I just realized that something was tickling my mind for her. And I said, okay, since we all are from the same class, I wouldn't want to be behaving funny, because I was already behaving funny, giving her some very special favors, acting funny when she's around. And I said, Guy, you have to define this relationship. And I said, okay, in defining this relationship, I want to tell her that my mind or my heart has gone out to you. Okay, and yes, that time I was also made the president of our fellowship on campus, which was the Baptist um,
Students
student fellowship.
fellowship.
Okay, I was the president. So because of that, I was given a room on campus, that is the secretariat of the fellowship, to stay. And I called her, I gave her an invitation to the secretariat, and she came. Happily that day, I spoke to a friend of mine, and I told him, so I want to propose to someone, and I don't know how to go about it. What do you think? And he said, wow. He asked me who might that person be. Just before I even opened my mouth to mention, he said, oh, wait, I think I know that who that person is. And till today, I'm still surprised how he got to know about that. All right, so he advised me I should go and buy some good fish. I should cook a very good pot of rice. And then when she comes, serve her rice. Okay, so I said, okay, I'll do just that. So as a student, I got some money. I went to the market, got some good number of fish, and I came back, prepared the food. But the food I prepared that day, the quantity was much, So to an extent, almost lost out of the taste of the food. That's that taste I wanted the food to have. It's like because of the quantity, I lost that taste. But that wasn't the problem. that wasn't that wasn't the major problem I had that day. So when she came, and of course she didn't come as at the time she I was expecting. She came a bit late because I think they had some. You guys had some
You had to go and
program.
see mom.
Okay, you had to go and see mom. Okay, all right. So when she came, I said, okay, wow, you're welcome. And since it was a fellowship secretariat, I said, okay, all right, let's. Do you care for anything? I have food to give you. And the first blow I received that day was, I'm filled. I don't think I can eat. I was like, wow. I hope her not eating my food will not be a bad signal for me. ah, I said, okay, since you are not eating my food, let's just get straight to the business. And as usual, just like I said, it was a fellowship secretariat, and I said, all right, can we pray? We are seated just the way we are now, on the round table. I said, can we pray? She said, okay, sister. So we prayed, and I told her exactly why I asked her to come around, and that's I actually liked her, and this is it. I want us to start up a relationship. So what does she think? With a smile, she didn't give me a slap. She. Sorry, I'm telling you a story. All right, she didn't give me a slap. She didn't frown her face. She just smiled. And she said, well, thank you for expressing your thought. She spoke all the good English. And then later on, I was expecting a smooth landing to say, yes, I think so. We should go into a relationship. And then I had her said, well, you got to give me some time to pray about it. I was like, oh, God, we are back at this point again. Okay, so that was how it started and it progressed. But then I tell you that statement, let me pray about it, was not a smooth ride for me because it took close to over a year before she could. In fact, it was not a smooth ride. Let me just, well, thank God at long last that we are here. So I don't know if there's anything I missed out that you want to just say.
Okay. Okay, I think mine was while growing up. I had
Sorry, let me take this thing a bit off because sometimes your voice can be just scarce.
okay, thank you. Okay, so while growing up, I had seen a number of people. experience what they call heartbreak. Okay, so while I was in the secondary school, precisely around JS3 SS1, though young, I had some classmates that were in relationships. I also had my aunts that were in relationships. And so I saw people go through pain. I saw people cry sometimes. And then they will keep saying, heartbreak, somebody break my heart, somebody break my heart. And knowing the kind of person I was, I just told myself, if my heart is broken, I don't know.
Then you can
I don't
stand
know if I
usually
can stand it or put it
survive it.
together again.
Okay.
Okay, so at that age, nobody had to tell me anything. I made up my mind, prayed about it. I had the opportunity of giving my life to Christ quite early. So I prayed about it and I made up my mind that I wasn't going to toil around with relationships until I was ready to take one relationship seriously, and I intend that that would be it for marriage. So in the course of schooling, quite a number of people came my way, but I had already I already made up my mind about that because I didn't want to experience, for especially my aunts. I had two of them that I was really close to. For times they had these issues with relationships. One of them almost had a mental issue as a result of that. She went into depression. And so for me, I had made up my mind that I didn't want to go through any of this. So that was one of it. And I think the second issue was as a young girl, we have a picture of a dream man. Okay, I had read books.
Mm.
Yeah, some of them were Christian literature, some of them were some of these Christian fictional literatures. Francis Rivers has always been one of my favorites. You know, while reading some of those things, I had built a picture around my head of what I intended to. And then to worsen it, I think the society we live in actually built some of my ideologies. So for instance, when you watch Nigerian movies and you always find out that mother-in-laws are always having issues with their daughters-in-laws. There's always somebody is trying to bewitch the
Uh,
other person and all of
mm.
that. So at a very young age, quietly in my heart, I was praying that I'll get married to an orphan. No father, no mother, so I don't have issues with anybody. Quite selfish, I know. But all of this, the movies I had watched, the books I had read, I had made me build that wrong ideology. Okay, so now getting to the university, I already had set my mind that okay, I wanted to study medicine and surgery. But when the admission didn't come forth, I was really heartbroken. And so, in the midst of my pain, I also made some decisions. And one of those decisions was since I couldn't be a medical doctor,
Oh, you wanted to be a medical doctor,
yes, I
actually.
really wanted to be a medical
Okay.
doctor. Okay, and so I made up my mind that since I couldn't be a medical doctor, I must, and I meant it, I must get married to a medical doctor. And then I was also not happy about my height.
Oh.
Yeah, I just felt, well, especially when we had to go and look at the board for our results or something. Once you have a crowded set of people,
Yeah.
you have to stay back, if not, you suffocate. You
Mm.
understand? And so I was not happy about my height. I have an elder brother, but he's quite tall. My mom is tall, but I'm just like the wonderful person in the house. And so for that, I now said I was going to get married to an extremely tall man. I wanted this visible difference. Yes, I'm here, but I wanted. So
Mm.
thank God for his mercies. As young people, sometimes we make some very interesting decisions quietly as a result of either circumstances or things we've watched or the lives of other people. That was my own case. Okay, so having built up these ideologies, so I had things I started looking forward to in marriage. Though a Christian, I was praying for marriage, but I had all of this set out. So, like you said, when we started school, relationship wasn't it for me. My mom too, relationship wasn't it. She just wanted me to come out as an excellent student, just concentrate on your studies, do well, love God, and just be nice with people, make as many good friends as you can, and all of that, you know. So relationship wasn't it for me. I had people around me that were into relationships. I have this wonderful set of people I study with mathematics. So we had more of guys, a few ladies. So the guys, we had a reading team where four of us. I called all of them my elder brothers because they were older than I am, and they actually treated me like a little sister. So I knew all of them were in relationships. I knew all the people they were in relationships with, but I just was watching like that little girl. I had nothing to do with the relationship. Neither was I interested in one. And so when we got to 200 level, before 200 level, we were in fellowship together. My husband, we attend programs. I was with the evangelism team. He also had quite a passion for missions, and so yeah, we had that common ground in fellowship when it had to do with those aspects. Okay, so I remember sometimes I got newsletters from him about either one mission field or the other things that were happening, just raise prayer altars on behalf of missionaries and all of those. And so when 200 level came, shortly before I met him, I actually met somebody that somehow had fit
Perfectly.
perfectly into the picture of my dream man. He was a medical doctor, wrapping up medical school. He was a Christian, of course. He was really tall and he was orphaned. And so, without praying or thinking or checking, my heart had started going for him. We were just good friends. I knew him through one of those my friends I called big brothers. Okay, so we got to know him through that one of the youth camps we went for and all of that. So he became quite close to our study group. He was studying medicine and surgery and all of that, So he didn't ask me out. Whether he was just being nice around, but I was hoping that something would come up just because I already had that ideology in my head of the perfect man, picture of a perfect man that I wanted. Okay, so we're good friends, and I started having
When that your ideology or your dream man complexion wasn't part of it, right?
no, no.
So
Complexion wasn't part of it, though I had a desire as a child.
okay.
Yes, I had a desire as a little girl. Growing up as a little girl, though in Nigeria, but all the music I grew up listening to were Kids Praise,
The
Donny
more
McCluskey, yes. So all of those musicians, Bob Fitts, those were the kind of music we grew up with. Okay, so I had a picture of actually marrying a white man as a
okay.
child.
Okay.
Yes. So I desired to marry a
Okay.
white man
So that was
because
that was where the complexion came in.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, but at this point, as I had grown older, that one wasn't part of it. I just had this other
Okay.
yes
Okay.
as my
Yeah. Sorry
as my
for for interrupting your narration.
no, that's okay.
Okay.
So I had that as my picture of the ideal man or my dream man. Okay, until I began to see some little warning signals and I had to start giving attention to them. So one of the first things was I needed to define my relationship because I began to feel like he was more like a playboy. Yeah, because I just kept seeing him. He just frequented too many ladies.
Okay.
Yeah, you see him here and see him there like that. So I wasn't very comfortable with that. So at a point, I had to actually ask him, and I said, "Sorry, I just wanted a clarity.
Defined. Yeah.
Yes, can we just define what this friendship is about?" And he was offended.
Okay.
Yeah, he was really offended. He was pissed. So for me, that was a warning signal because I just felt asking a quite was a direct question. I wasn't saying, "Will you marry me?" I was just saying, "Can we just define?" Yes, this friendship because since I already had a
Emotions
picture,
are getting
yes,
in, yeah.
my emotions were so I wanted a more defined, not to assume
Yeah.
well nothing was happening. Okay, and so like that, and so at that point, I like I said, I already started seeing some warning signals, especially things that had to do with attitudes.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't straightforward. I just felt he was cunning. He wasn't straightforward, and so I had to pray about it. I had to
Excuse
pray
me.
about it because at that point I couldn't go to my aunties. I don't have an elder sister. I
Okay.
couldn't go to my aunties. I didn't really have a close female person that I could
Okay,
talk
could
to.
discuss with, yeah.
Yes, about most of my friends were guys, and like I said, they were my elder brothers. So I
Okay.
refer to them as big bro and all
Okay.
of that. Okay, so I just had to pray about it. That was the only place I actually find solace. So I poured out my heart to God and I said, "Oh Lord, I'm already falling in love with this guy. If this is what falling in love with, because my emotions were already going for it,
Okay.
oh please help me,
Hmm.
deliver me from error.
That was a sincere prayer.
Yeah, please help me, deliver me from error." And I actually got a warning. It was more like it opened up more warning signals.
Okay.
Okay, and so I had to pray another prayer, and the second prayer I prayed was, Lord, I do not want to meet with this guy physically. I don't know how you are going to interrupt our meetings, though the phones were not as frequent. We
Yeah,
had
yeah,
phones, but
yeah.
we didn't have this
The
kind of
luxury
access.
of
Yes.
having it, yeah.
Yeah. So I prayed and I said, Lord, we're on the same campus, but I don't know how you're going to interrupt our meeting until you have healed my heart. I want to come to a point where I see him and I do not have any emotional attachment until you have healed and helped me that I can move on beyond this point and all of that. And actually, God did it. For like 6 months, we're on the same campus, but somehow we never
Never
met.
met.
We never met. Okay, and I remember the day we met, I was going to a bookshop to buy a textbook, and then he just called, Blessing. I knew he was the one. I just turned and I gave him a hug. But there were no emotional,
Strings,
yes, no
nothing.
strings. I had been healed. I could look him in the face and I was just fine. He was just like one of those, my brothers, one of those, my friends, and all of that. Okay, so that was how it went. Okay, so it was in the midst of all of this that I met my husband.
And then came I, who was a sharp contrast probably to
Yes,
your ideal man.
yes.
Oh my
To the
God.
picture I had as an
Oh
ideal man.
God.
Yeah.
And the puzzle wasn't just fitting in for
At
me.
that point, no.
Oh, so when you said you want to pray about that, were you sincere about that?
I really didn't pray.
So why did you tell me that?
Okay, actually, I didn't say I was going to pray as a way of covering up, no, or shutting you, no. I actually intended to pray, but when I went back and I started thinking about it, I was like, oh,
Why?
I
Oh
remember the first time I was
Jesus.
asking myself, like, listen, your classmate for crying out loud, classmate. When will you graduate? When will you get a job? When will you get married?
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So those were the things that were actually staring me in the face.
Hmm.
And so I was doing more of thinking and analyzing than even praying. So I
Okay.
didn't really take it to God in prayer as truly and as sincerely as I should.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't really pray about it. So after thinking about it, I was like, whoa, this guy is 207. 207.
You should end here, right?
I'm like, 207 will come and pass.
Yeah.
Yes, I came to you for 207, and this is it. 207 will come to pass, you know, until after a long while. I remember my husband asked me and said, so what we talked about the other time, you've not said anything. I remember that day I just had to tell him, I said, sincerely, I have not prayed about this. But today I'll start praying about it and I'll give you an answer soon, you know. And most of my decisions then and most of my yeah, I'll say decisions were basically out of either the experiences of others that I had seen, and I had some secret fears. I had a lot of fears, uncertainties. I remember going to meet one of my when in the same fellowship of Christians, FCS, we're in children's department CM together. I remember talking to Amanda one day. I think she was like the only lady I talked opened up to talk with about my relationship before I went into it. And I told her and I said, Amanda, I'm scared. I'm not even sure. I don't know what to expect. I don't know how it happens. And then people get heartbreaks. And I don't want to experience that. And then she told me, she said, just like we talk about faith, we believe in God by faith. So even taking steps, we need to also trust Him by faith. I think that was one major thing. She just told me, pray about it and take a step of faith. Just trust God to help you go through. Okay, so I started praying about it. I didn't have visions or anything, but I had this peace.
Hmm.
I had this I had this uncommon peace.
Hmm.
But coming up to now, say okay, I wanted to say yes became another drama.
Another drama, yeah.
Yes, because I wasn't sure if I said yes, what kind of reactions I was going to get, and what were the possible things, expectations that you have of me, and all of that. So I had several questions. Okay, so how do I do this? How do you go about that? You know, and so saying yes took me some time until one of the days I went for a youth fellowship, and it was like God orchestrated it particularly
Okay,
to
for you.
talk to me about it. And they were older couple that were encouraging us about issues of relationships. And that day they were talking about delay. That sometimes they were talking about visitations. And I remember she was that's Miss Ekaite Etang then, the daughter of Sarah Ministries, was talking about visitations. She said we all have our different times of visitations. Some have frequent visitations, others have just a few visitations. And she was warning. She said, imagine when the angel visited Mary, that Mary wasn't ready. Or Mary said, let me think about it. Or Mary said, do you know what you're saying?
Yeah.
You know, that visitation cooled her, passed her by. So she was warning about our times of visitation, being sensitive, to take things seriously when they come, because so many older ladies that we have, some of them have, not because they didn't have their visitations, but didn't know when their visitations came. They took it for granted, and then they've not had that opportunity for some of them. Okay,
So it
so
becomes a delay for them.
yes, it becomes a delay. And so she talked about it that day. So I just, it was more like
A
the message
message to
was
you
coming,
directly at you.
yes,
Okay.
directly at me. So I decided to take a step of faith, and somehow I said yes.
Okay. And well, I want to first say kudos to you for
Thank
taking
you.
that resolute step, okay, to say yes to me. We were all classmates at time. And funny enough, when I approached you, I never made any high sounding promises.
Mm-mm.
I didn't make you feel like the whole earth is going to be like given to you. Okay. And it was not until recently I was just reflecting back on that. When a guy goes to like host a girl or a lady, he tries to present a lot of huge promises, a lot of what will I call it,
Unrealistic
unrealistic
expectations are raised.
expectation, about the future. Okay, but as at that time, we were struggling to even feed at some time, at some point, struggling with buying maybe handouts, study handouts, make your study materials, having access to study materials. So
Yeah.
we were just students, and But one thing that we were very sure of was we trusted God that the future wasn't going to be disappointing. Okay, so I want to really salute you for that courage you took. All right.
Thank God.
I want to believe that at some point in time some people were like seeing us as object of jest. Okay, they were jesting at us, feeling like these guys are going nowhere.
Very
You
true.
know, some even openly said, we have seen your type.
Yeah.
As soon as you are done on campus,
School.
it's going
Yeah.
to scatter.
Very true.
Okay, but we are grateful to God that after several years, we are still here. And it may interest you to know that this is my first girlfriend,
And
the
he's
first
my
and
first
only,
boyfriend.
the first and only who became my wife. So I don't have record of other girlfriends that so nobody can come and say you broke my heart. All right, well, that is our own experience. That is not to say it's the perfect or the standard that must be let me say maintained or achieved, or which word will I
It's not
use?
a yastic.
It's not a yardstick. That
Yeah.
was how it worked out for
For
us.
us. Yeah.
Okay, so yours might be different. All right, so this is our own story. This is how it worked out for us, how God took us through our own journeys. Yes, we came across a lot of other potential relationships that we will have thrown ourselves into, but we never did. All right, we never did. That is the truth. We never did. Okay, so until we actually took the step to verbally, ask ourselves that, okay, would you want to have a relationship with me? And we all came to a point where we said yes, because we felt that we were convinced. So thank you for that.
Thank you too.
And secondly, I want to hope that you have no regrets.
No, I don't. By God's
Okay.
grace. Not at all.
Okay. So at least my mind is at peace that
And no
I
heartbreaks.
no heartbreak.
By God's grace.
All right. So thank you so much for sharing, and it's quite a very interesting one. Today we have four kids together. Okay, that is our family. So we are all together six now. In the grace of God, growing gradually in the grace of God.
Yeah.
All right, so that's our own little story. So thank you so much
Thank you
for
too
sharing
for
that. So
having me.
we encourage you, you young lady, you young man, if you have the leading of the Holy Spirit, just go ahead, take that first step of faith, trusting that God will lead you in the way. Okay, it is God that lead. The Bible said He's our shepherd, and we shall not want. Okay, He will always lead us to where there is green
Green
pasture.
pastures.
He will
Very
lead us
true.
beside the still waters. He will not take you through turbulence water for you to be carried away or floated off. Let me use that word.
Yeah.
Okay, so God is good, is
Mm.
good, is good, and He's been very, very good for us. So Psalm 23 has become one of our major chapter of the scriptures in our home that we recite almost every day in our home with our children. The Lord is our shepherd, we shall not want. Okay, and by His grace we have never want anything good. All right, He has always been our supplier. So take that first step of faith, and you'll be surprised at what God will do in your life and through your life. So thank you for
Thank you
listening
too.
to our story. Do you have any closing word on that chapter?
Okay. I don't know. To any young lady there, not minding your experience, it's important that you do not build your vision on fantasies. We live in a generation where a lot of people, even when they get to marriages, they hit the rocks because they have unrealistic expectations. They've read novels, they've watched movies, and they see the man doing this and doing that. And so when they come in, they have some expectations that once they feel those expectations are not met, they feel he's not man enough. So I would just want to encourage you that little beginnings, you know, putting your hands together, growing up, growing together, learning together, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So do not look at the days of little beginnings and look down on them or look at them with disdain, because such days usually have their stories eventually in the future. So I would just want to encourage you, take a leap of faith, trust God, Yeah, even if you've had heartbreaks, God has a way of bringing up new chapters. The Bible says that His word are anew, and He renews us by the day. So, not minding the past, there's a renewal that can come up as long as you're fully submitted to Him, trusting Him for definite things, and being true to yourself. Lastly, do not take any warning signal for granted. As little as when people are inconsistent with their words, when they make jests, you know, when they have little disrespect for even those that are older, they are serious warning signals. They are serious warning signals. Do not take those for granted and feel that he was just joking. Don't worry, he will change. Do not play with warning signals. It's more like going on the road and then there are signals on the road telling you slow down, bump ahead. You don't slow down, it could cost the person's life. So the same thing is a time to just slow down. Once you begin to see warning signals, please slow down, seek counsel, and listen. And once one, two people are raising flags, please listen. And I just hope that God will help us go through. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you,
You're
thank you,
welcome.
thank you for being
Thank
my
you.
wife. All right, all right. It's quite a good one.